People, Deluded, I'm back again. Good morning, and I hope you're all doing safe wherever you are, whoever you are. The Premier League is back, people. Well, yeah, the Premier League is back. Burnley travel away to Arsenal on Sunday, and it is what it is in that regards. Admittedly, I don't have the Premier League table to hand, so Siri, what's the Premier League table? No, Siri, Premier League table. Big up yourself, man. I might give you a little feature on DGTV. But anyways, people, we're 10th. Burnley are 13th. I believe we're actually level on points on 30. Obviously, goal difference is why we're ahead. But it's a top clash, people. Obviously, if we win, can potentially, depending on goal difference and what happens in other games, can move ahead of Southampton and Sheffield United, can potentially climb as high as 8th. Now, that will put us on 33 points, and again, depending on what happens with Chelsea, United and all these sort of things, you'd be a point behind Spurs, you'd be a point behind Man United. But it's also important to remember that Spurs play after us. They've got Manchester City. Hopefully City do us a favour. Chelsea, you'll obviously see them and Man United's results, I believe, because they're playing on the Saturday, or it could be the Sunday. No, Man United play Wolves. If Wolves and City can do Arsenal a favour, and someone can beat Chelsea, then we can claw back in the top 4 race. But I've already told you, look, top 4 is a myth for Arsenal. But at least for this season, all I'm looking at is that, obviously, you'll see, I believe in Arteta. Whether he's going to be a success here long term is down to him. But I believe he's showing me something to get behind. And I think I speak for most Arsenal fans when you listen, we want to win stuff and do crazy things. But we weren't seeing, you know, a manager with a clear way of what he wants to do, because it weren't like that under Emery. We could, at a point, I couldn't even criticise Emery, because I don't know what you're trying to introduce. Like, I can't, even if I don't agree with your game plan, I wanted to see a game plan, and I think Arteta's doing that. He's obviously hearing the way the players speak. I mean, Pablo Mari's just signed for the club, and I believe he's wearing number 22. He spoke on Arteta. I'm not, obviously, I'd assume it's too early, sorry, for him to potentially start, but who knows? All we can get from this season is, you know, trying to get up to speed with what Arteta wants, trying to be able to, you know, play that high-intensity football from the first minute to the last, become a bit better in terms of game management. Obviously, our young players that we are going to move forward with, you know, the Willocks, potentially Eddie and Joe, obviously definitely Saka and Martinelli, and any other, Nelson, any young players dotted around the side, they can get experience from this year. Other than that, there's not too many positives we can draw. We're hoping on the Europa League run. I wouldn't mind going to Wembley in the FA Cup. But in terms of the domestically in the league, it's a bit of a tough one, people. Like I said, it's 10th versus 13th. When I think of Burnley, I think that they've been disappointing by their own standards this season, but they've did all right, and they should take full confidence from their last Premier League game, I believe, against Man United, where they travelled away from home. They did a good 2-0 little drill over them, and was it Jay Rodriguez? He scored a banger. Now, for me, we're probably going into it too much. When I think of Burnley, yeah, I think of a compact 4-4-2, tough to break down. I think of a team that, you know, takes advantage of aerial threats and wins a lot of headers. Naturally, I don't need to show you examples, but set pieces we need to improve. If we look at one of their games, they've gone with a 4-4-2 of sorts, with their wingers with McNeil, and obviously, I believe, Wood up front and all them things there. When I think of Burnley, I think of the first and second balls, people. Like, let's say this is an aerial situation, yeah, just because it's the best way of doing it. Ball comes in from, you're meant to be permanent marker, he drive, but ball comes in from the corner, my man wins the ball. We need to win our first and second balls. Imagine it's in the air. We need to win our first and second balls. They're a team that exploits set pieces. You look at a lot of their goals, it's because they fight for the second ball. We have to win this. Okay, if we do not win this, win the second ball, because I've seen a lot of Burnley goals, and I've actually lost the paper because I sat down in my lunch break and looked at some of their goals in the Premier League, both that they've conceded and scored. A lot of the goals they've scored is because they fight for the next ball. They might win the team might lose the first. Win the first, but the ball might drop to my man. The second ball, which we need to close man down or engage with a header, it might drop to my man, he bangs it and they score. The first and second balls, in the air is what we need to do. We need to remain compact. We need to be switched on from set pieces. We've conceded from a set piece at the Emirates, I swear, when we played them. We need to be switched on. Obviously, Turf Moor, Burnley's results have been a bit iffy this year, but when I think of Turf Moor, I think of hard fans, I think of fans that will give you a tough time. I think of a team that remains compact and rigid and tough to break down, waiting for their chance to exploit you. I do think there's gaps to exploit on the counter-attack as well, because when they go forward, what I've noticed, unlike Sean Dyche and Burnley organised side, sometimes they might be tracking back, but there's massive gaps. There's massive gaps, so let's go down that flank and exploit them. I want to press their defence high as well, because I think their defence has been quite nervous. I think recovering from attacking transitions when they pull forward in their formation, they're susceptible people. They're really susceptible. If I had to guess the game plan, I'd imagine naturally they would get 2 banks of 4, men behind the ball, compact, tough for us to break down, you know, try and look for them sideways passes, and that's where the key for me is winning the first and second balls, but we need to break the lines. I want to see us counter-attacking with flair. I want to see players turning it on. I believe that's the game for this. And we're away from home, so we've got to be brave. Take shots, make movements, make runs. But the midfield, and anyone else really, because we need our fullbacks to overlap and overload and stuff, don't be afraid to play them passes, people. Really don't be afraid to play them passes. For me, the only takeaway is the set pieces. That's what scares me with Burnley. If I had to say what scares me, it's set pieces and it's the first and second balls, people. It's the first and second balls. Don't know why I'm playing around with this so much, but let's just leave that because we're done with that. Moving away from that, like I said, play with clarity and bravery. Clear your lines. Like I said, they are pretty susceptible on the counter-attack, but you need to be careful with set pieces. And then we not show them short. They're not afraid to play ball. They've got a couple players that are okay in their side there, in that regards, people. Obviously, you've got if I'm Hendrick and McNeil, I'm trying to go 1v1 versus the fullbacks, because if you look at it, Bellerin looks like he's decent, but he's just returned from an injury. You've got young Saka there, who, you know, age is irrelevant because he's putting in good shifts. But if I'm Burnley and I'm looking at set pieces, potentially in the air, that's someone I'm targeting. Get on the far post, because we do zonal marking. Get on Saka, double up, men against a young man's body. 2 men against him, Westwood and I don't know, a centre half. You're winning it in the air. So we need to protect players like that. I'm not saying Saka's the weak link. I'm putting myself in Burnley's shoes and seeing how I'd exploit this Arsenal side. The left-hand side with them 2 young G's from Arsenal seems to be our best side, but that's an area I would thingy. And like I said, mainly first and second balls. It's important we remain concentrated from the first to the last minute, as you lot already know. That's pretty layman's terms. But moving away from that, Burnley have lost their last 11 matches against Arsenal in all competitions, stretching back to 2010, March of that year. Now, obviously, these runs always have to come to an end at some point, so we need to be wary of such people and not take anything for granted. Arsenal have won their last 10 league games against Burnley. They last won 11 in a row against an opponent between 1994 and 04 against City. Oh man, that's how you know I'm getting a bit old, man. I remember when Arsenal versus City was it was a definite Arsenal gonna win, but with oil money or whatever, them things they change. But moving away from that, Burnley haven't led for a single minute in 11 Premier League games against Arsenal. The only team to have played more games against an opponent without ever leading, is Portsmouth against Chelsea. None of Burnley's last 17 Premier League games have ended level, with the Clarets winning 7 and losing 10. Burnley have won 2 in a row on 3 separate occasions in that run, including their current run, but haven't won 3 in a row in a competition since April of last year. Arsenal are unbeaten in their last 6 Premier League away games, winning 1, drawing 5, during each of their last 4. The last time we drew 5 consecutively away from home was 1948. August of that year. So we're going to need to be switched on, people. There's, these runs always have to come to an end. Maybe Eddie Nketiah scores. I mean, he scored last season against Burnley. It'd be ironic if he came off the bench and scored. Is Aubameyang back, people? Am I bugging out? I swear Aubameyang's back from his suspension now. It's been, he's done the Burnley, he's done Bournemouth, he's done... I swear he's back now, people. Forgive me if I'm wrong and Aubameyang's not back, but I swear he's fresh home now and he's able to play. But with that being said, the last thing left is the lineup, and I would people pick themselves. I go with Leno. Obviously, Saka has to do a job for me at left back. I'm going with Leno. I'm going with Saka. I swear David Luiz is back from his suspension now as well. If he's not, then I'd have to throw in Holding there. And forgive me if I'm wrong, people. If Aubameyang and Holding are not back, I'm pretty sure Aubameyang and what's his face, Luiz are back. Then fair play. If they're not, I apologise, people. Yeah, so I'm going with, you know, Saka on the left, on the right Hector Bellerin, sorry Maitland. Centre halves, I'm going with Socrates and Luiz if you know permits. In midfield, it picks itself. I'm going with Xhaka and Torreira. I'm probably going to lead towards Mesut Ozil, although I'm tempted to give Ceballos a chance, but I'm going to go with Mesut Ozil, Torreira and Xhaka. In the midfield, I think in the final third, it picks itself. I'm going with Martinelli on the left, Aubameyang if he is back through the top, and Pepe on the right. To be honest with you people, that's the team that I would go with. I don't think there's anything more for me to add or expand, so I'm not going to waste any more of your time. I might as well just keep it moving. People, thank you for listening to my Burnley preview. Hopefully we can do a drill, and you know, come Sunday evening, it's a positive result. I guess mathematically the race for top 4 is on, and the players, if they want it, is there. I believe we're too poor of a side to get top 4. We've got too many bad habits to unlearn, and we're just not as good as I think we've been under Arteta to a degree. With comparison to our previous regime, we've got a long way to go. But hopefully, people, I just want to get back to winning ways. It would be nice to win away from home as well. But on that note, God bless people. DG, I'm out. Thank you for watching and rocking as usual.